Gravity seizes your body in ways that make no sense. It doesn't arrive gradually. One moment you're floating in ordinary space. The next, your feet fall faster than your head. Your spine begins stretching while time itself slows to a crawl. This is what actually happens when you fall into a black hole. Physics rewrites what it means to exist in human form. Before we begin, drop a comment about where you're listening tonight. It feels different when voices gather in one place. Your descent begins now. Your left ankle tingles. Your right foot feels heavier. The sensations start gentle, like stepping into a swimming pool. Your feet begin falling faster than your head. Your body now spans two different gravitational zones. The black hole pulls your ankles with force several times stronger than what grips your shoulders. Each vertebra separates from the next. Your spine stretches in ways it was never designed to endure. The feeling resembles morning stretches that never reach their satisfying release. Blood pools differently in your legs. Your heart pounds harder as circulation patterns shift. Internal organs slide toward your feet as your torso elongates like warm plastic. Your fingers reach toward your toes. It is an instinctive attempt to hold yourself together against invisible hands pulling your body apart. The stretching accelerates beyond comfort into something that feels fundamentally wrong. Your body becomes a strand of spaghetti. Your watch ticks slower. Each second stretches like pulled rubber. One heartbeat now spans longer than it should. Your pulse pounds in slow motion. Each lub-dub echoes longer than it should. The rhythm feels alien in your chest. Your heart struggles against time that refuses to flow normally. Thoughts crawl through your mind like honey. Blinking takes forever. Your brain processes each moment in syrupy delay as space-time warps around your falling form. Breathing becomes deliberate. Each inhale lasts an eternity. Each exhale never seems to end. The universe outside accelerates. Stars wheel overhead in fast-forward patterns. Distant light sources flicker and shift as the cosmos seems to speed up. Your nervous system fights the temporal mismatch. Neural signals that once moved at lightning speed now trudge through pathways designed for normal Earth time. Consciousness stretches into something unrecognizable. You grab for a handhold that isn't there. Your arms feel like concrete. Each finger weighs more than your entire hand did moments before. Gravity amplifies every ounce of your body mass. Your head becomes a bowling ball your neck can't support. Your torso presses down on your pelvis with crushing force. Muscles designed for normal Earth weight buckle under the load. Your legs fold beneath you as bones strain against pressure they were never built to withstand. The weight surges. It surges again. Your ribs compress inward with each labored breath. Your spine bends backward under its own mass. Vertebrae grind together as your skeleton becomes its own enemy. Internal organs shift and compress as gravity transforms your body into a sack of lead. Each heartbeat requires tremendous effort. Your chest wall fights to expand against the relentless downward pull. Standing becomes impossible. Moving becomes agony. Inside your chest cavity, blood struggles to climb upward. Your heart pounds against forces it cannot overcome. Each beat sends blood toward your brain. Gravity pulls it back down. Circulation that once flowed effortlessly now fights an uphill battle it's destined to lose. Your vision dims around the edges. Oxygen-starved brain cells begin shutting down. Dizziness washes over you in waves as blood pools in your lower extremities. Arteries designed for normal pressure collapse under the strain. Veins bulge as they struggle to return blood to your heart. Your pulse becomes irregular, skipping beats as your cardiovascular system fails. The room spins. Your inner ear fluid shifts in impossible ways. Balance becomes a forgotten concept. Your brain receives signals from organs that no longer work together. Blood vessels in your eyes burst from the pressure. Tiny red dots appear in your vision like scattered paint drops. Your heart races faster, pumping harder against impossible odds. Straight lines curve before your eyes. The horizon warps into an impossible arc. Light itself bends around you like water flowing over rocks. Your field of vision distorts. Objects that should appear straight ahead now seem to come from behind you. Light rays follow curved paths through space that has been twisted beyond recognition. The familiar geometry of normal space collapses. Parallel lines meet in the distance. Right angles become obtuse. Your brain struggles to process visual information that contradicts every expectation of how reality should appear. Stars behind you somehow shine in front of your face. Light completes full circles around the black hole, creating multiple images of the same distant objects. The universe becomes a funhouse mirror of impossible reflections. Your peripheral vision expands unnaturally. You see things that exist behind your head without turning around. The boundary between forward and backward dissolves. Curved spacetime folds visual space into origami. Colors shift toward the blue end of the spectrum ahead of you, behind you. Everything takes on a deep red tint as light stretches across impossible distances. Your eyes water as they attempt to focus on a world where focus has lost all meaning. The geometry itself breaks down around you. Your right shoulder blade cracks. A sharp snap echoes through your torso. The sound comes from inside your own body. Your collarbone bends in ways it was never meant to bend. Cartilage between your ribs tears with wet popping sounds. Each joint in your spine separates as vertebrae slide past their normal limits. Your femur, the strongest bone in your body, develops hairline fractures that spread like spider webs. The crack starts at your hip and races down toward your knee. Both ankles twist inward. Your feet dangle at impossible angles as ligaments snap under the pull. The small bones in your hands crush together under gravitational pressure that twists fingers into tight angles. Your skull feels ready to implode. The sutures between cranial bones strain and separate. Your jaw dislocates with a grinding sensation that reverberates through your teeth. Each breath sends sharp pains through ribs that no longer align properly. Your skeleton becomes a collection of broken pieces held together by failing soft tissue. Your frame dissolves into scattered fragments. Deep inside your brainstem, blood vessels struggle against impossible pressure. Tiny capillaries begin rupturing like miniature fireworks. Your carotid arteries bulge as they fight to push blood upward against gravitational forces that want to drag everything toward your feet. Each heartbeat becomes a desperate attempt to maintain circulation to your oxygen-starved brain. Blood pools in your lower extremities. Your legs swell as vessels overflow with fluid that can no longer return to your heart. Purple bruises spread across your skin as capillaries burst under the strain. A sharp headache explodes behind your eyes. The strain builds until small blood vessels in your retinas rupture. Red spots scatter across your vision. Your nose begins bleeding. Warm liquid trickles down your face as nasal blood vessels surrender to forces they were never designed to withstand. The metallic taste spreads across your tongue. Your pulse becomes erratic. Your heart skips beats as it struggles to maintain rhythm against forces that overwhelm every chamber. Each missed beat sends waves of dizziness through your consciousness. Circulation stops fighting gravity and surrenders completely. A weight settles on your chest. Your ribs compress inward. Each breath becomes a deliberate act of survival. Your diaphragm strains against gravitational forces that try to flatten your lungs like deflated balloons. The muscle that controls your breathing trembles with effort as it fights to expand your chest cavity. Air moves in and out of your lungs in shallow, inadequate gasps. Your bronchial tubes narrow under external pressure. Oxygen struggles to reach the deepest parts of your lungs where gas exchange should happen naturally. Your intercostal muscles, the tiny bands between your ribs, tear from the strain of trying to lift your chest wall. Each attempt to inhale sends shooting pains through your torso. Panic sets in as your body realizes it's not getting enough oxygen. Your breathing becomes rapid and shallow. The harder you try to breathe deeply, the more your compressed lungs resist expansion. Carbon dioxide builds up in your bloodstream. Your skin takes on a bluish tint as oxygen levels drop. Your fingers and lips turn purple as hypoxia spreads through your system. Your lungs forget how to work properly. Your stomach drops. It drops for real. Gravity drags it toward your pelvis where it doesn't belong. Your liver slides downward, pressing against organs that weren't designed to support its weight. The familiar arrangement of your internal anatomy breaks into displaced tissue. Your intestines coil and twist as they settle into new positions. Sharp abdominal pain shoots through your midsection as organs compress against each other in configurations that nature never intended. Your kidneys drift from their normal positions, pulling on the blood vessels and nerves that connect them to the rest of your body. The stretching creates a deep, aching pain that radiates through your lower back. Your bladder experiences pressure it was never designed to handle. Internal bleeding begins as delicate tissues tear under the weight of displaced organs pressing down from above. Nausea overwhelms you as your inner ear fluid shifts and your stomach contents slosh in its new, wrong location. Bile rises in your throat as your digestive system attempts to function in its corrupted arrangement. Your anatomy becomes a puzzle with all the pieces in the wrong places. Your bicep twitches violently. Muscle fibers separate like fraying rope. The tearing sensation spreads down your entire arm. Your quadriceps, the powerful muscles in your thighs, shred under gravitational stress that exceeds every limit your body was built to handle. Each fiber snaps with microscopic pops that create waves of intense pain. Your back muscles, already strained from supporting your elongated spine, begin failing catastrophically. The erector spina muscles that hold you upright tear away from their attachment points along your vertebrae. Cramps seize your calves as muscle tissue contracts and releases in spasmodic patterns. Your legs become useless as the muscles that control movement disintegrate under forces that treat human tissue like wet paper. Your neck muscles can no longer support the weight of your head. Your skull lolls forward as the sternocleidomastoid muscles stretch beyond their breaking point and snap. Even your facial muscles betray you. Your eyelids droop as the tiny muscles that control expression fail. Your mouth hangs open as your jaw muscles surrender their ability to maintain tension. Your muscular system abandons all pretense of coordination and control. Your digital watch face blurs. Numbers change with agonizing slowness. Each second-hand movement takes what feels like forever. 1 minute of real time now contains 10 minutes of conscious experience. Your brain runs at normal speed. The universe crawls around you in thick, sticky slow motion. Your pulse pounds in super slow motion. Each heartbeat echoes through your chest like a bass drum played underwater. The lub-dub rhythm separates into distinct sounds. Vast silences open between them. Blinking becomes an eternity-long process. Your eyelids descend like heavy curtains. They stay closed far too long. Then they rise again with geological slowness. Your thoughts race through this temporal molasses. You think complete sentences, whole paragraphs, entire conversations with yourself. Pain stretches into an endless duration. Each nerve signal that once flashed by now lingers. Agony becomes not just intense but relentless. Time becomes your cruelest enemy. Stars streak across the sky like bullets. Distant galaxies spin in fast-forward spirals. The cosmos becomes a time-lapse movie played at maximum speed. Light from distant objects shifts and flickers. The sky jitters with changes that should never be visible. What should take ages seems to happen right in front of you. Cosmic dust clouds that normally drift in silence now swirl and dance. They curl like smoke in a hurricane. Whole systems change shape before your eyes. Any radio signals from distant civilizations arrive crushed into high-pitched squeaks. The spectrum turns into a chipmunk symphony. It is fast, sharp, and unreadable. Solar winds blast past you in seconds. Particle streams become visible rivers of light. They pour by at incomprehensible speed. The rotation of planets becomes perceptible. You watch worlds spin like tops. Day and night flicker in strobe light patterns. The universe transforms into a hyperactive light show. Your human perception was never built for this. Your heartbeat feels wrong in your chest. Each pulse lasts too long. Your cardiovascular system rails against impossible time. Your heart muscle contracts in super slow motion. The electrical cues arrive late. Each chamber fills and empties with dreamlike sluggishness. The rhythm never finds its old groove. Breathing becomes a conscious effort measured in geological time. Your diaphragm descends with the speed of a glacier. Air enters your lungs grain by grain. It takes forever to fill the space where oxygen should flow. Your blood crawls through your veins like thick syrup. Circulation loses its familiar loop. You feel the struggle in places you never noticed before. Your nervous system misfires as it tries to coordinate everything. Signals that should snap into place now trudge through you. They arrive like exhausted messengers. Temperature regulation fails. Heat builds and drains in slow waves. Your internal thermostat can no longer keep up. Your biology becomes a broken clock running at the wrong speed. Your childhood memories flicker like broken film. Images from your past arrive out of sequence. Mental time travel becomes involuntary and chaotic. Memories that should return in a blink now unfold in brutal detail. A small birthday scene plays out in full length inside your head. Your body keeps moving through slow disaster. Your mind is trapped somewhere else. Recent events feel like they happened ages ago. The moment you first felt the tidal forces sits far behind you. It takes on the dust of ancient history. Your sense of narrative continuity crumbles. Past, present, and future lose their meaning. Time fractures into disconnected moments. They arrive in random order. You remember conversations that haven't happened yet. Your brain fills gaps with ghost experiences. They feel completely real. They leave a strange aftertaste. Names and faces from your entire life parade through your consciousness. Teachers appear beside coworkers. Old rooms collide with new streets. Everything mixes into a temporal soup that refuses chronology. Your personal history becomes a shuffled deck of cards. It scatters across impossible time. Your mouth moves too slowly to form words. Sounds emerge as low-pitched groans. Speech becomes archaeology of intention. Any attempt to speak stretches vowels into whale songs. Consonants take forever to form. The word help turns into a long performance of broken syllables. Your vocal cords vibrate at frequencies that no ear reads as language. Even if someone could hear you, it would not land as speech. It would feel like deep, distant rumbles. Your thoughts move at normal speed. Your mouth cannot keep pace. You think whole sentences while your tongue crawls through a single sound. Communication collapses into futile timing. Your larynx fails to coordinate with your breathing. Pushing air past your vocal cords becomes a messy, slow struggle. The body refuses the choreography. Even screaming becomes impossible. Forming sound stretches beyond the limits of your vocal anatomy. Your voice thins out into temporal silence. Your voice disappears into temporal silence. Your pupils dilate in confusion. Light arrives from impossible directions. Stars that should be behind you now shine directly into your face. Photons curve through twisted space-time. They spiral around the black hole's gravitational field. Light that began its journey from stars millions of miles behind you loops and hits your retinas from the front. Your peripheral vision expands beyond normal human limits. You see a full circle around yourself without turning your head. The boundary between forward and backward dissolves as curved space folds your visual field into geometric impossibilities. Distant galaxies appear in multiple locations simultaneously. The same spiral arm shows up 3 times across your field of view. Each image arrives by a different path, bent by gravity's invisible lens. Your brain struggles to process visual information that contradicts every expectation built into human perception. Neural pathways built for straight light now receive signals that make no spatial sense. The familiar concept of looking ahead becomes meaningless. Reality bends light into optical lies. Red light streams from behind you. Blue light blazes ahead. Your vision splits into a kaleidoscope of impossible colors. Visible light tears into harsh bands across your field of view. Everything in front of you shifts toward blue and violet as you keep falling toward the black hole's center. Objects behind you glow deep red and orange as their light stretches thinner. The universe becomes a two-tone nightmare. Direction decides color now, not the objects themselves. Your eyes water as they fight wavelengths they were never built to handle. Ultraviolet, once invisible, becomes a harsh purple glare that sears your retinas. Infrared heat signatures turn into visible red shadows. They dance at the edges of your perception. Temperature becomes color in ways your visual cortex cannot file cleanly. The familiar colors of your childhood memories seem like fairy tales next to the alien spectrum flooding your optical nerves. Your world becomes a prism of distorted light. A black sphere grows larger in your vision. Perfect darkness expands like spilled ink. Half of existence vanishes behind an invisible wall. The event horizon draws closer. Stars, galaxies, and cosmic dust simply cease to exist beyond that dark perimeter. It eats more of your visual field with every moment. No light escapes from the region ahead of you. Your eyes strain to see into darkness so complete it seems solid. It feels like staring into a black hole cut out of reality itself. The transition zone between visible universe and absolute void draws a sharp line across your vision. Above it, stars wheel in their warped patterns. Below it, nothing exists. Your pupils dilate fully in a futile attempt to capture photons that will never come. The darkness ahead is not just dim. It is a dead silence where no signal arrives. Vertigo overwhelms you as your brain tries to process a visual field where half of all sensory input simply stops arriving. Your depth perception collapses. Infinite darkness offers no reference points. The universe ahead becomes an abyss that swallows sight itself. Your field of view contracts like a closing iris. Peripheral vision vanishes degree by degree. The world narrows to a shrinking circle of light. Normal vision compresses toward tunnel vision as space-time distortion twists your optical field. Objects that were once clearly visible to your left and right fade into darkness. Your eyes track frantically as they try to compensate for shrinking visual real estate. Muscles that control eye movement strain against limits they were never designed to exceed. Colors at the edges of your vision drain away first. Only gray shadows remain. Then complete darkness claims those regions entirely. Central vision holds longer, but even that begins to fail. Details that depend on peripheral vision, movement, threats, spatial relationships become impossible to catch. Your brain receives visual information only from an increasingly narrow cone directly ahead. Claustrophobia sets in as your visual world collapses toward a single point. The familiar wide-angle view of human sight becomes a keyhole perspective. It narrows with each moment. Your vision becomes a shrinking spotlight in an expanding darkness. Your reflection appears in front of you. The back of your own head stares back. Light completes impossible circles through folded space-time. Photons leaving your body travel complete orbits around the black hole. They return to your eyes from the opposite direction. You observe yourself from behind without turning around. You watch your own fall from an external perspective. Your brain rejects this impossible input. Neural circuits built to separate self from other misfire. Your own image arrives from the wrong place. Multiple versions of yourself appear at different distances. Light from different moments in your fall reaches you along different orbital paths. You see your past positions as ghost images scattered across warped space. The visual feedback loop creates vertigo so severe that nausea overwhelms your already damaged nervous system. Watching yourself fall while still feeling the fall from the inside snaps something deep in your sense of perspective. Your eyes cross as they try to focus on an image that should not exist. Not like this. Not here. Space becomes a funhouse mirror that reflects impossible truths. Your neck elongates like pulled taffy. Each vertebra slides away from the next. Height appears where only a few inches used to exist. Your cervical spine stretches until your head floats far above your shoulders. The familiar sensation of head resting on neck vanishes as bone separates from bone with wet sliding sounds. Your thoracic vertebrae pull apart like beads on a breaking string. Ribs that once protected your organs now dangle uselessly from an impossibly elongated torso. The protective cage around your vital organs becomes a long line of disconnected bones. Your lumbar spine extends until your torso resembles a grotesque accordion pulled to its maximum length. Hip bones that once supported your lower back now hang below an extended column of separated vertebrae. Spinal fluid leaks from gaps between bones that were never meant to separate this far. The liquid that once cushioned your nervous system now pools in the expanding spaces between your vertebrae. Your spine becomes a broken chain held together only by increasingly strained ligaments. Standing becomes an archaeological memory of a body that once held its shape. Your left arm stretches toward your feet. Gravity pulls your hand down past your knees. Normal human proportions become alien geometries. Your humerus bone extends like a telescope being pulled to maximum length. Your shoulder socket strains to maintain connection with an arm that now reaches absurd distances from your torso. Both legs elongate until your feet dangle far below your pelvis. Your femurs stretch under gravitational stress that treats bone like modeling clay. Your fingers extend into grotesque tendrils. Each digit becomes a thin rope of flesh and bone that dangles helplessly. Your hands lose all resemblance to the grasping tools they once were. Your toes stretch until they resemble twisted roots hanging from the ends of impossibly long feet. The mechanisms that once provided balance and locomotion transform into useless streamers of distorted tissue. Your arms and legs become boneless ribbons that flutter in the gravitational wind. Human proportions surrender to forces that reshape anatomy into abstract art. Inside your elongated torso, arteries strain like overstretched hoses. Your cardiovascular system begins catastrophic failure. Your main artery stretches until tiny tears appear in its walls. Blood leaks into spaces where it doesn't belong as the vessel fails under impossible elongation. Tiny vessels throughout your body burst like popping balloons. The microscopic pathways that deliver oxygen to your tissues rupture as they're pulled beyond their elastic limits. The arteries in your neck, already struggling to push blood to your distant brain, develop weak spots that bulge and threaten complete rupture. Each heartbeat sends pressure waves through vessels that can barely maintain their integrity. Blood pools in the lower regions of your stretched body. Circulation becomes a one-way trip as your heart loses the ability to push fluid back up through your elongated network. Internal bleeding creates purple patches across your extended skin. You become a human-shaped bruise as blood vessels surrender to gravitational forces they were never designed to resist. Your circulatory system becomes a broken plumbing network leaking life in all directions. Your brain sends signals down impossibly long pathways. Nerve impulses travel distances they were never meant to cross. Communication between mind and body becomes archaeologically slow. Your spinal cord extends like a stretched rubber band. Nerve signals take forever to travel from your brain to your extremities. Simple commands like move your hand arrive too late to matter. Peripheral nerves that once carried instant messages between body and brain now struggle across distances no human body should contain. Sensation from your feet arrives at your brain like delayed mail from a distant country. The systems that run breathing and heartbeat lose synchronization as control signals stretch across impossible distances. Your body forgets how to coordinate its basic life functions. Reflexes disappear entirely as nerve pathways become too long to support the lightning-quick responses that once protected you from harm. The neurological infrastructure that made you human dissolves into a communication network with massive delays. Your thoughts remain trapped in your distant brain while your body operates without central command. Your nervous system becomes a broken telephone game played across cosmic distances. Your skin pulls tight like plastic wrap. Surface area swells as your body extends. The boundary between inside and outside begins to fail. Your epidermis stretches until it becomes translucent. Veins and organs become visible through skin that was never meant to cover such vast distances. You become a living anatomy diagram with internal structures visible through thin tissue. Stretch marks appear everywhere as your skin struggles to accommodate a body that has grown too long. The elastic fibers that once gave your skin flexibility snap like broken guitar strings. Your skin temperature drops as surface area increases faster than your body can generate heat. The thin membrane that once protected you from the environment becomes a liability that can't maintain basic thermal regulation. Pores stretch into visible holes as your skin tissue spreads beyond its design limits. The protective barrier that kept your internal environment stable develops gaps that compromise your body's integrity. Your skin becomes a failing tent stretched over a frame that has grown too large for its covering. The boundary between you and the universe dissolves into transparency. Radio waves grow weaker around your body. Your emergency beacon flickers a last time. The electromagnetic pulse fades into gravitational silence. Your device tries to push out a distress signal. The waves bend inward, pulled along curved space toward the black hole. Each pulse thins until it barely exists. The final transmission breaks apart mid-sentence. Digital bits scatter like leaves in a hurricane. Your last words become electronic fragments, lost in the bend of space. Your phone's screen goes dark as towers slip beyond reach. The familiar bars that once promised connection show nothing. Every channel humanity built turns useless against a pull that traps information. Satellite links that once tied you to global networks begin to curve away. The invisible web around Earth snaps like broken spider silk. Your voice drops into a communication void where no signal can climb out. The universe stops listening to your desperate calls. The black hole's grip tightens beyond all physical limits. Escape velocity climbs past the ultimate speed barrier. Light itself becomes trapped in a gravitational cage. Even perfect engines would not lift you away now. The required speed sits beyond what matter can reach. The horizon keeps coming. Light streaming outward begins to slow. Rays crawl through warped space, then curve back. The well beneath you grows deeper than light can climb. Every direction feels like down as space folds into shapes that erase up. The energy cost of escape swells past anything you can imagine. Freedom shifts from hard to impossible. The concept of elsewhere dies around your falling form. Your wristwatch hands keep their steady pace. The second hand still ticks. Minutes outside your reference frame flash by like strobe lights. Time stretches and twists. A brief moment in your chest feels thick, while the outside races ahead. Your heartbeat keeps its rhythm. The rhythm beyond you no longer matches the rhythm within you. Stars outside your gravitational prison change invisible jumps. Aging that once belonged to distant eras now crosses your sightline. Cosmic motions unfold like time-lapse footage. Galaxies shift enough that the spiral arms seem to slide. Outside becomes a smear of motion. Inside becomes temporal molasses. Your personal time drifts away from cosmic time until causality starts to feel unreliable. Chemical bonds in your DNA begin snapping. Molecular structures that define life start unraveling. The alphabet of your genetic code dissolves letter by letter. Your cells strain to keep basic reactions running. Proteins lose their folded shapes and peel open under invisible stress. Water in your body stretches until the bonds give. What was fluid cohesion turns into separated atoms drifting in chaos. Blood proteins lose their iron cores as the binding forces surrender. Metal slips free from the organic scaffolds that once held it in place. Cell membranes develop gaps as their fatty layers lose integrity. Inside and outside leak into each other. Your metabolism stalls as enzyme shapes distort beyond recognition. The reactions you lived on no longer happen. The molecular foundation of your existence crumbles into atomic debris. Invisible tides ripple through your extended body. Each cell vibrates as space itself stretches and relaxes. Tidal gravity shakes you apart at the microscopic scale. Your tissues compress and expand in harsh cycles. The stretching squeezes and pulls what is left of you in rhythms no body can endure. Cells rupture as their internal pressure swings too far. Cytoplasm spills through torn boundaries. Nerve endings fire in random storms as the tides trigger stray electrical bursts. Pain arrives from every part of your elongated body at once. Bone marrow vibrates until blood cell production breaks down. The factory turns into fragments. Your brain tissue takes tiny impacts that shred networks faster than they can recover. Consciousness flickers as thought patterns lose their footing. Reality turns hostile at intensities your body cannot resist or escape. Your shadow freezes on the event horizon. Anyone observing from a safe distance sees you stuck forever. Your image becomes a permanent ghost etched against absolute darkness. Your body appears to slow down until all movement stops completely from an external perspective. Light leaving your form redshifts toward infinite wavelengths as gravitational time dilation reaches its maximum possible value. The photons carrying your image struggle to escape the black hole's gravitational well. They arrive at distant observers, stretched across impossible timeframes. Each second of your experience becomes hours, then days, then years of external time. Your frozen image gradually fades as the light carrying it redshifts beyond the visible spectrum. You become infrared, then radio waves. Then you become nothing any practical detector can measure or any eye can see. To the outside universe, you hang motionless at the event horizon for what looks like eternity. Your light slowly dies across frequencies that stretch toward infinity. Your existence becomes a permanent scar on space-time that external observers can never see heal or disappear. The universe preserves your final moment as an eternal monument to gravitational extremes. You pass through the event horizon. Nothing feels different in your personal time frame. The crossing happens without ceremony or warning signals. Your body continues its inward fall at the same rate your internal clock has maintained throughout the journey. No physical barrier marks the transition from escapable space to gravitational prison. The point of no return passes underneath you like an invisible line drawn in space that only mathematics can detect. Your nervous system registers no change in sensation as you cross the boundary between possible rescue and inevitable destruction. Space around you looks identical to what you occupied moments before crossing. No wall appears. No change in light or color marks the transition. It seals your fate forever. Your heart beats at the same struggling rhythm. Your stretched body continues its tormented existence. It never acknowledges that return to normal space is impossible. The most significant boundary in the universe passes beneath you with complete silence and no physical indication of its presence. Doom arrives disguised as empty space that feels no different from anywhere else. The boundary behind you becomes impermeable. No signal from the external universe can reach your location. Causality itself cuts the connection between you and everything that exists outside. Information once flowed freely between your location and the rest of reality. Now it hits an invisible barrier. No electromagnetic radiation can penetrate it in your direction. Light from distant stars, the cosmic background radiation that has filled space since the universe began, cannot reach you anymore. The photons curve away before they can bring you news of external events. Your future slips out of sync with everything outside. The idea of a shared now falls apart. Events in normal space stop touching your path. They cannot reach you. Radio signals and gravitational waves turn one way. They can leave you, but nothing comes back. The universe outside becomes as unreachable as if it existed in a completely separate reality governed by different physical laws. Your causal connection to everything you ever knew dissolves permanently. Space curves beyond any familiar configuration. Straight lines exist only in your memory. Euclidean geometry dies as your reference frame enters impossible territory. The concept of forward and backward loses meaning. Space folds into configurations your intuition cannot process. Every direction points toward the singularity at the black hole's center. You try to orient yourself, and it keeps failing. Familiar relationships between objects and distances collapse. Your brain cannot map what it sees. Parallel lines converge, violating every assumption that guided your perception. The space around you becomes a non-Euclidean nightmare where mathematical theorems replace physical intuition. Your visual cortex struggles to interpret spatial cues that contradict everything you rely on. Depth perception becomes meaningless in space where depth itself follows rules incompatible with human experience. Distance shifts depending on direction. Your old measuring instincts stop working. The fundamental structure of space transforms into something alien that your mind cannot map or navigate. Quantum fluctuations spark around you. The vacuum turns restless near the horizon. The space around you begins generating particles and energy that tear through your tissues. Particle pairs that normally vanish in impossibly brief moments can become real in the intense field. They interact with your cells in ways your body cannot handle. High-energy photons slam into your bloodstream. The environment fills you with radiation that lights you from the outside. Your circulatory system becomes a conduit for energy that illuminates you from within. Electron-positron pairs materialize near you and immediately annihilate. They create gamma-ray bursts in brain tissue. Your thoughts occur against a background of quantum violence that no biological process can survive. Your DNA takes direct hits from particles born in the unstable fabric of space-time. Genetic information dissolves under radiation that emerges from reality itself. The boundary between matter and energy starts to blur. Quantum mechanics plays out at scales your body can't endure. You become the proof in flesh of physics past the edge of life. You attempt to move sideways through space. The motion feels like traveling backward through time. Spatial dimensions become temporal directions you cannot control. Your body experiences movement through space. It feels like traveling through duration itself. Left and right become earlier and later in ways that make voluntary movement feel like time travel. The familiar coordinates that once defined your position in three-dimensional reality transform into something your brain cannot process. Up becomes future, down becomes past, and forward becomes a direction that no longer exists. Your nervous system sends movement commands that land wrong. Muscles designed for spatial navigation go useless where direction behaves like time. Your inner ear, evolved to detect orientation in three-dimensional space, generates constant vertigo. It receives signals from dimensions that now follow temporal rules. Navigation becomes impossible when the map itself obeys rules that contradict every assumption about movement and position. Geography becomes chronology in ways that make motion meaningless. The singularity ahead draws you inward. Moving toward it feels as inevitable as aging. Your trajectory becomes as fixed as the flow of time itself. Resistance becomes impossible as the pull toward the center carries the same inevitability as normal time. You cannot stop your approach to the singularity. The inward pull acts like temporal gravity, dragging you toward a future shaped like a place. Fighting it feels useless. The direction toward the singularity becomes the only direction that exists, just as forward in time was once the only option. All other paths through space-time close off like roads into impossible history. Your free will evaporates. Choosing a route feels as meaningless as choosing a direction to travel through time. Destiny transforms from metaphor into physical law that governs your movement through dimensions where choice itself has become impossible. The future becomes a place you cannot avoid visiting. Your bones emit X-rays from internal compression. Matter inside your body reaches temperatures that create exotic radiation. The atoms of your skeleton become miniature stars burning with impossible energy. Gravitational forces compress your remaining tissues until electron shells collapse. Atomic nuclei fuse in reactions that turn your body into a living particle accelerator. Your blood plasma reaches temperatures found in stellar cores. The iron in your hemoglobin starts reactions that warp your bloodstream into a network of fusion heat. The calcium in your teeth breaks down under pressures that overwhelm the forces holding nuclei together. Your enamel becomes a source of particles that belong to the universe's harshest places. Your nervous system conducts electrical signals through tissue that has become ionized plasma. Thoughts spark in a medium where the line between matter and energy disappears. Biological processes continue for brief moments in conditions where biology cannot hold. Your body becomes a laboratory where matter transitions into pure energy. You exist in multiple positions simultaneously. Quantum uncertainty operates at human scale inside your disintegrating form. The boundary between possible and actual dissolves completely. Your consciousness experiences superposition as your quantum state spreads across multiple locations within the collapsing gravitational field. You perceive yourself at several different distances from the singularity at the same time. Wave functions that normally collapse into definite states keep their probabilistic nature at macroscopic scales. Your body rides quantum superposition, carrying many possible positions and velocities at once. Measurement becomes impossible. Observation needs a stable reference frame, and none survives here. Your thoughts occur in quantum superposition, spanning all possible mental states at once. Consciousness becomes a probability cloud of potential experiences rather than a single stream. Reality turns probabilistic as classical physics surrenders to quantum effects amplified by gravitational extremes. You become a living example of quantum mechanics at the scale of human experience. Every memory you ever formed vibrates at the event horizon. Your life's information hovers between existence and destruction. The universe struggles to decide whether your data can truly disappear. The information that comprises your consciousness, every memory, every learned skill, every neural pattern that made you unique, meets a conflict between gravity and quantum mechanics. It will not resolve. Your personal history, encoded in quantum states throughout your disintegrating brain, both falls toward the singularity and clings to the event horizon. The laws refuse to agree. The universe cannot decide whether your information should be destroyed or preserved. Your existence becomes a paradox that challenges the consistency of physical law itself. Every thought you ever had hangs between preservation and destruction as information theory breaks down in the black hole's interior. The story of your life becomes a question the universe cannot answer without breaking its own rules. Your existence transforms into a paradox that physics cannot solve.